I'm going to speak on something that a lot of people have already spoken about, and I'm not speaking of the NFL taking a kneel, things like that, with which I give Colin Kaepernick props for starting this movement, and of which a lot of people have lost sight of what it was actually meant for in the first place, which was injustice. Now, us as black people, we do have a right to speak out. We have a right to form an opinion and use that opinion for the righteousness and the development of our nation. When I say our nation, I mean black people, of which we have been deprived of the nation that we have actually built. We built the railroads. We paved the roads for white people and for all races to drive on, metaphorically speaking and physically speaking as well. Now, speaking on the note of injustice, when we answer and react to the injustices that we see, whether it be police brutality, or a random white person calling a black person a nigger, we react in violence. We react in riotous ways. It's actually hubris to me personally, because we have the means and the resources to react in such a way, but we don't react in the right way. And what I mean by that is we have a weapon. We are the weapon. And every time we use our weapon, we point it in the wrong direction. Instead of finding the focal point of the problem, we sporadically react in different cities and states and not actually neutralizing the main problem. And the main problem isn't white people. The main problem is black people, because we are not utilizing our knowledge. We are not utilizing our resources and actually putting those resources together to actually make ourselves rich, or as Donald Trump likes to put it, make our nation great again, which is the biggest piece of farcical hoopla that I have heard in my 30 years of life. What I'm not understanding is that black people see the injustice. We see what's going on, and we're doing nothing about it. And I'm not just speaking out against police. I have nothing against policemen. My uncle is a policeman. Love him to death, Black people kill black people. This is injustice, okay? It's not just police brutality. It's senseless hate and brutality against black people. And it has to end, and it should end now. But here's the thing. People are trying to end hate in America. They're trying to end racism. They're trying to end violence. That's something that's never going to end. As long as there are different races on this planet, there will always be racism. Now, racism, the root word, does not define hate. Okay? Racism is pretty much you belonging to a certain race. That's what racism actually is. But racism has become synonymous with hate, whether it be towards white people or towards black people or towards any genre of indigenous people on this planet. It doesn't matter. What matters right now is actually the focal point of which I'm getting to in this conversation is the injustice and what to actually do about it. We're going to the government about it. We're going to we're outsourcing. We're going to other places trying to do something about the injustice that's happening to our people. And the only way to fix the injustice within our people, black people, is to do something about it within our nation. We need to actually come together. Now, back in the 60s, this was a mass development. Now, Dr. MLK spoke about nonviolent protest, nonviolent resistance. Malcolm X spoke about resistance with violence, so to speak. Now, he wasn't a violent person. He didn't incite violence. He wasn't a promoter of violence. He just said that every person within the constitutional rights should have a rifle or shotgun to defend themselves if such violence beseeches upon them. Now, it's wrong now, quote unquote, for a black person to have a gun. If you have a gun, a policeman is going to shoot you if you're black. And to deny this is to remain ignorant of the fact. It's pretty much like trying to say that slavery never happened. It's trying to say that the past 400 some odd years wasn't built on the backs of slaves, of which it obviously was, but it's actually being erased from the history books as we speak. Our children are being taught that slavery was so distant in the past that we should ignore it. Now, this is something that I'm not teaching my child. I actually removed my son from school because of the content of the curriculum that they were teaching him. I didn't like it. So now he's being homeschooled, and he's very bright. Now, this is something that is very crucial that I have to get across to people. The only way, once again, whether you are white, black, Mexican, it doesn't matter what race. If an injustice is happening within your race, you should do something about it. But the only way to truly fix it is to look within yourself. The only way to truly fix it is to commune with your brethren and with your sisters to fix it. You cannot outsource and go somewhere else to try to fix a problem that you have. Okay? That's like you have an equation and you try to go to another equation to solve that one. You need to solve that problem. The answer is always within the problem. You just have to be smart enough to figure it out and solve it.